Arseniy Yacenyuk is the former Ukrainian Prime Minister. He served from 2014 to 2016. So thank you for being with us. I want to know, how difficult is it for you to look at the aftermath of what happened at that train station in Kramatorsk, knowing that the Russians are more than likely to carry out similar attacks over and over again until this war is done?
You know, it's completely inconceivable. This is not just the tragedy of Ukraine. This is the global tragedy. How could this happen in Europe after the Second World War? How could this happen actually at the order of the president of P5 member, which is Russian Federation? And how could this happen in Ukraine, which is a completely independent and free country and never posed any threat to Russia or anyone else? So here is my take, John. Putin and his cronies and every single soldier, everyone in the chain of command, have to be brought to justice. Otherwise, we will have a repetition of these tragedies and dramas. So he has to sit behind the bars.
How important is it for you to get that message out, not just to Vladimir Putin, that he will be held accountable, but also to the Russian soldiers on the front lines, that the ones who pull the trigger, the ones who fire the missiles, that they will be held responsible too? It's not just all about Vladimir Putin.
You know, I'm just wondering what has happened to these so-called human beings. I mean, half of Ukrainians, they speak Russian language. I'm not sure whether Russians understand Ukrainians. But right now we are living in a completely different period. So they are no longer humans. This is an inhumane behavior. This is our inhumane actions of these Russian soldiers and every Russian soldier, their relatives, and an entire Russian nation. I want to be very clear about this, because some folks are actually focused just on Putin, on his regime. No, that is not true. Those who support Putin, and it's around 80% of the Russian population, everyone is to bear the brunt, everyone responsible for these crimes and atrocities committed in Ukraine. In terms of legal, I would say, basis, how to bring to justice Putin and his cronies and his soldiers, there are kind of very complicated legal issues. We have this International Criminal Court, International Court of Justice, and the rest of the stuff. But all these legal mechanisms are not valid right now. So I believe the G7 member states and Ukraine have to facilitate a new strong mechanism of legal persuasion and prosecution of Russian crimes in Ukraine.
Because we cannot forget, it is the Russian soldiers on the ground who have raped the women, who have raped the girls, who have burnt their bodies alive, who have done this to these people. It is, as you say, it's not just all about Vladimir Putin. And I think that's something that people tend to forget. That is it is the hundreds of thousands, or 100,000 or so Russian troops on the ground that are systematically carrying out these atrocities.
John, we will never forget this. Never, never, ever. So this is the darkest, not hours, but days and years of Ukrainian history. But we will prevail. I know it for sure, and we will never forget this.
I was going to say, in terms of stopping Putin, well, there is increased military support now, at least. There are tanks from the Czech Republic, there are anti-ship missiles, armoured vehicles from the UK, defence systems from Slovakia. There is that symbolic show of support by the British Prime Minister and EU leaders also. Does this now represent a significant shift in support for Ukraine?
Absolutely. This is not just a significant shift of support of Ukraine. This is the significant shift of actually understanding what Russia is really about. And the West already realized that Ukraine is fighting not just for Ukraine, but Ukraine is fighting for the entire free world. So there are three dimensions, John, which are needed in order to win this war against Nazi-style Russian aggression. The first one is military. And we do commend the efforts of the entire free world to supply defensive weapons to Ukraine. But I want to focus not only on defensive, but actually offensive weapon, because we need to recapture a number of territories in Ukraine. So the world have to be bold and strong in deciding to supply both offensive weapons to Ukrainians. The third dimension is an economic one. Look, Europeans have to realize that this over-dependence on the Russian gas and oil is just a disaster for the European economy and for the European security. An expert that you interviewed just an hour ago, she said that less than $1 billion Russia gets out of oil and gas sales. Here is the thing, more than $1 billion. Every single day, Russia's war machine is fed with more than $1 billion received from the EU and other states who are purchasing Russian oil and gas. So an energy embargo and a very tough sanctions have to be imposed and to erase any kind of chance for Russia to circumvent sanctions. And the third issue, which is economic for Ukraine, we ask for economic support. We are in a very dire economic situation. I expect that Ukraine is to lose more than 50% of its GDP since the end of this year. And last but not least, John, geopolitical dimension. Look, we still have a number of countries who are very vocal, explicitly or implicitly, supports Russia. Mainly it's China, it's India, it's Brazil. So the free world is to press this country just to realize that they are responsible for the war crimes committed by Russians in Ukraine, similar as the Russian regime, if they don't take the right side.
Senator Yaценюk, we'll have to leave it there, but your points are valid, your points are important, and we hope that the right people hear them, and we thank you for your time, sir.